Mixing It Up, Building an Educational Identity for an Art Exhibition by Alicia Viera. Mixing It Up, Building an Identity was an art exhibition on display in the United States from September 2011 to January 2012 at the Tempe Center for the Arts near Phoenix, Arizona. The exhibition showcased a broad variety of works by artists of Mexican, Mexican-American or Chicano and Chicana, and U.S. origins, and it highlighted the mix and influences of both Mexican and U.S. cultures in their artistic creations. Mixing It Up, Building an Identity represents an implementation of the new model of supported interpretation created by Villeneuve. Formerly known as Villeneuve's guided interaction model, supported interpretation (SI) places a strong emphasis on museum education, making it the center of museological practice as opposed to considering it just as an added component. The supported interpretation model was built in a constructivist framework, hence keeping in mind the ideas of Piaget, Vygotsky, and Brunner. The constructivist museum model of Hine and the guidelines he provided for advancing constructivism in the museum were also considered. However, Villeneuve focuses her model on identifying and implementing museological practices beyond the constructivist museum ideas in order to support the inevitable meaning-making processes of visitors, one of the limitations of the constructivist educational theories when applied in the museum. Supported interpretation was inspired and informed by Malcolm Noel's concept of guided interaction and Peter Van Mensche's museological theory. Noels describes his guided interaction concept as a way of facilitating learning in the classroom and as a process occurring between the teacher, the learner, and the materials of instruction. In this process, the teacher facilitates and creates opportunities for the students to make meanings based on their own experiences. On the other hand, the methodological museology of Van Menches brings together exhibition and education into a communication unit. He emphasizes that museums and museological practice are but mediators, not ends in themselves. Villeneuve's model reconsiders staff roles, aligning with Van Menche's theory, and proposes the idea of a curatorial team that includes curatorial, education, and installation staff, as well as representatives of the museum audience, which is a step forward towards the inclusion of a wider variety of perspectives and voices. Aligning with Noel's concept, she presents the idea of the art exhibition as a rich educational interface that is visitor-centered and that acts as mediator. The interface will provide educational opportunities and challenges of different kinds so that visitors can choose from them according to their learning preferences. And mixing it up, the curatorial team selected 3 themes and 3 styles to facilitate and support learning and interactions in the gallery. The 3 themes were national identity, labor, and family and community. And the artistic styles were graphic, folk, and traditional. As these images illustrate, the interface didn't rely primarily on text, but the style and theme icons were mostly visual, in order to reach a wider variety of visitors and to provide them with the same opportunities for engaging in active learning at their own pace and with no limitations. Looking at the exhibition as a whole and coming up with themes and styles to tie it together assured that education could be integrated all throughout, and that it could become the central component of the visitor's experience. During the curatorial process, the team anticipated the needs of the visitors by considering and developing plans that supported visitor engagement and interaction. Careful decisions were made in terms of object selection and also their placement during the process of installation. The inclusion of different types of activities that required different levels of involvement from visitors presented options for different types of learners. And mixing it up, there were 4 interactive components. They were the gathering area, the visitor comment book, the tagging activity, and the loteria game. The gathering area provided a space for visitors to browse different books related to the exhibition and share with each other at their own leisure. The visitor comment book stimulated them to reflect on their experiences by answering questions addressing the themes and styles of the exhibition. Visitors could get their picture taken and included next to their comments. The tagging activity encouraged visitors to label some of the artworks on display, using magnetic cards that featured the icons representing themes and styles. Examples were provided as reference and as an invitation to play. Multiple icons designated the overlapping of themes and styles to make visitors aware of different possibilities. Inspired by a traditional Mexican game similar to bingo, the curatorial team included a version of La Loteria game, also using the icons for the styles and themes of the exhibition. The game was located in the context of a 1950s kitchen recreated after one of the artworks on display. The kitchen tabletop served as a tabla, and reproductions of selected artworks from the exhibition invited visitors to match them with themes or styles. The supported interpretation model suggests the inclusion of different forms of participation that allow for visitors to provide and share their feedback with others, and that was reflected at mixing it up. Visitors could engage in the tagging activity or reflect on their own identities in the visitor comment book, which also served as a great assessment tool thanks to the addition of cards and photos. Overall, all of the educational components present in the exhibition allowed for a friendly and relaxed environment with the inclusion of playful learning experiences. I am currently in the process of conducting research and evaluation of Villeneuve's model of supported interpretation at Mixing It Up, Building an Identity as part of my doctoral dissertation, and I am particularly analyzing the 4 interactive components of the exhibition and exploring the opportunities the model offers for social interactions as part of the meaning-making processes of visitors. A new implementation of Villeneuve's model of supported interpretation has just been put in practice at the Figge Art Museum in Davenport, Iowa, from June to October of this year. The exhibition, titled Waxing Poetic, Exploring Expression in Art, encourages the interpretation of art through the creation of poetry. For more information about Villeneuve's model of supported interpretation and the Mixing It Up, Building an Identity art exhibition, please refer to these resources. As described throughout this presentation, Villeneuve's model of supported interpretation, SI, is an innovative approach to curating and designing art exhibitions, and it moves toward a type of art museum education practice that is visitor-centered, culturally responsive, and therefore inclusive. SI moves beyond the constructivist museum model of Hine by creating a museum experience that is educational while remaining relevant to visitors' lives. By applying the model, we can all support the inevitability of constructivism, and I am certain that current and future museum visitors will strongly appreciate it if we achieve that. Thank you.